everybody, it's Mr. Isaacs here. We're ready for our next edition of notes. So this time we're going to be talking about watersheds, what they are, and ultimately how humans like us affect these watersheds. Water is a super important resource in the environment, and we need it in order to survive. Okay, we need it in order to survive, and we need it for all life to survive. Okay. And so we're just going to go over the importance of watersheds. Now, what is a watershed? Is that going to be something that's in your backyard? No, that's not what it's going to be. It's actually going to be something a little bit different. So let's get into it. So we're going to look at what is a watershed, systems of watersheds, where does our water come from, stuff like that, and then what can you do? Because we have a big responsibility, or whether we want it or not. We impact these watersheds with our actions and our choices that we make every day. So let's keep on going. So what is a watershed? All right, watershed is all it is an area of land in which all runoff drains. Okay, or sheds, like sheds off your back, sheds off your like if you're wearing a rain jacket, the water just runs right off of you. Okay, it's sheds, like getting rid of it. To the same river, lake, or other body of water. So basically, depending on where you're at, because there's multiple of these, obviously, wherever the water goes, so wherever you're at, when it's raining, wherever the water winds up going, whether it goes into a lake, whether it goes into a river, wherever it's transported, okay, that is the watershed. All right. So let's look at this. So here would be our watershed. Anytime it would rain in this area, that's not the kind of the green outside, okay, anytime it would rain in there, you would see the water would come down to our little river and it would run all the way down here, okay, so the water started there, okay, it would run all the way down our river down, okay, the water would run down. So basically, guys, I mean, it's as easy as water is always going to go to the low point, okay, it's always going to go to the low point, and with the watershed, that's going to be where the water is going to collect. And we call these places rivers. Okay, we call these places rivers. We call these places lakes. We call these places oceans. Okay, and we're just going to look a little more in depth at what exactly is going on there, and visit how we impact it. So let's keep on going. There we go. So yeah, it's in our backyard. It's really close to home. Wherever water rains, which is everywhere, wherever there's precipitation, it needs to go somewhere. Okay, it needs to go somewhere. So you can think of it as puzzle pieces. All right, different puzzle pieces. You got these tiny little lakes and tiny little rivers that are going to flow into larger rivers. Okay, big ones like our Mississippi or Ohio rivers. Okay, these rivers are going to collect a lot of water from the area, and that's how the river keeps all its water, right? Because a lot of water is dumped onto these watersheds and then needs to be transported to the low point. All right, so let's keep on going. So here's examples of certain watersheds and where they go. But you can see a lot of this is Missouri or Mississippi and just coming all the way down here to run off into the Gulf of Mexico. That's where a lot of our water goes. Not very many rivers run north. Most of them run south. There's only a few, and one of them ran through my hometown. It's called the Red River. Okay, so that's why up here it's the Souris Red Rainy area. That's where I used to live up there, and so the water would run into Canada, which is kind of weird, pretty interesting. All right, but keep in mind, wherever it rains, wherever there's precipitation, there's going to be a watershed. All right, so Kingwood, I mean, this kind of just shows our little bit of an area, but I want to talk to you more about, okay, this water cycle or this hydrological cycle. All right, and so what's going to happen is wherever we're going to have a bunch of water, so that's going to be mainly our oceans. Okay, there's going to be evaporation occurring. That water is going to go up into the atmosphere. It creates clouds, and once there is I mean, there's other factors, but once enough energy is built up in those clouds, enough water molecules are present. Now they're going to release, and it's going to condense the gas form of the water. The water vapor, and it's going to condense as rain and fall onto our watersheds. Okay, the watersheds, it's going to flow into our rivers, flow wherever the low point is, and finally make it back to our ocean storage, our area that has all, most of the water, and then this same process happens over and over and over and over again. All right. So this is a pretty important slide. Just showing you guys a lot of the water is actually underground. We call it an aquifer. All right, and so we call it this interconnected system. Surface water recharges groundwater storage. Okay, so when it rains, the water, it seems like it just goes into the ground and disappears. It doesn't. It actually goes somewhere. Okay, luckily the ground will allow the water to pass into it. All right, or else we have some flooding. We have some issues with that in our area. So you can see all this dotted blue parts down here. That's all depicting. I'm just kind of highlighting with my red cursor. Okay, all that's depicting is the aquifer, or the water that's below the ground. All right, we may see a lake. Okay, this is a lake. I'm circling it. All right, we may see a lake, but right below it is where the actual water is coming from. All right, that's why the lake doesn't run dry. Okay, what needs to run dry is this entire area. Okay, this entire area needs to run dry, or part of the lake needs to drop below the like if this aquifer all of a sudden cut off right there, now we wouldn't see anything. We just see ground right here because it's above our water line. Okay, if it's above the water line, then there's not going to be no water. But if it's still at that same line of the aquifer, then the lake's going to keep refilling and refilling and refilling. All right. All right, let's go on to the next. We're just about done, guys. We're going to skip some of these drinking water things because I'm more concerned about how we as humans impact these. All right, so weather and watersheds, rain. What is the most common cause of pollution in streams, rivers, and oceans? Well, it's going to be from us, guys. It's going to be garbage, okay, not taking care of the things that we have, garbage in cities, surface water running off of yards. We have all kinds of stuff in yards. We got dog poop. We got fertilizer, okay, streets, paved lots, farm fields. All these things have different chemicals in them or on them. Okay, think of oil, think of gas that gets spilled. All this stuff has to go somewhere, and when it rains, that water does an incredible job of picking up things and carrying it with it. All right, so trash washed into the ocean from beaches. You see this all the time. You see different animals getting stuck inside the little plastic rings or bags or whatever. All right, so anything that the rain's going to touch, it can carry little particles of it with. Okay, and so that's why it's really, really important that we take care of our garbage, take care of our pollution, all right, our waste dumped by factories. Okay, all these different things are important, or else what we're drinking is going to be that nasty stuff. Okay, the stuff that we put into the water. Obviously, we do treat the water. We have water treatment plants to make sure it's safe for drinking, but we're putting too much of a strain on those plants if we're not taking care of business on a different end. And we see this happen. Flint, Michigan had a lot of issues with their drinking water back a couple of years ago. So we don't want that to be everywhere. Okay, we don't want that to be everywhere. So there's a lot of different factors that go into pollution. All right, and because of watersheds, this is kind of how we get flooding. Okay, all the water is going to one low point. Okay, and so if the ground is saturated, meaning no more water can go into the ground, then it's going to stay where it's at, and it's going to flood areas that normally don't contain water. Or if there's too much water, obviously it rains too much, okay, or too much snow melts, you can have issues. You can have flash flooding. Okay, so we kind of went over flooding in our catastrophic events unit, so I'm going to skip a lot of this stuff. But let's just talk a little bit about what we can do. And so simple ways that we can protect our watershed that we live in, okay, is just going to be taking care of the environment, okay? It's going to be don't dump, don't litter. Water and landscape properly, okay, that's following certain regulations, making sure that we're not having different chemicals go into that watershed by leaving them out. Okay, controlling the flow, we build dams, we have certain things that help control the flow of water to make sure we don't have flooding where we don't want it. Pick up after your pets. and don't let water just leak out. All right, fix that leak. You never know what it's going to be picking up and bringing into our watershed, which eventually we're going to wind up drinking. All right. So it was kind of a quick one today, guys. I hope everyone's doing fantastic, but I'll see you in the next one. Peace.